Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is FF episode 2907. That's right, 2907. And the show is called
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. Mike Matthews enjoying. This past weekend, I went to see some news, or make some news, or be amused by the fun people there at the Fall Festival. It's yous guys that go
Mike's Daily Podcast
to check out the Fall Festival every year in Podcastro Valley, even though it doesn't really feel
Mike's
like fall.
Daily
If you have
Podcast.
any meteorologist friends, they will tell you, no, it is fall. It is fall, so do not dismay. It is fall. Fall is here, even though it doesn't feel like it is hot. And the Fall Festival is always screamingly hot in Podcastro Valley. And I remember taking the late, great Basil the Boxer, who is in the podcast picture today. And speaking of pets and animals, if you're watching this on Facebook, the facebook.com page, facebook.com/Mike's Daily Podcast, the video I made, which will be up for 30 days and then gone. But I'm using one of these little enhancements, these special effects, where cats and rabbits and panda bears pop up over my head through the whole thing. It's in a lemur and pandas. And yes, that's all over my head. Oh my. So see that at mikesdailypodcast.com. No, wait. Well, there's a link. If you go to mikesdailypodcast.com, click on that Facebook link and you'll find it. Anyway, Café Anyway. What? We were talking about how I'm honest and about how I hold the honesty stick. When you hold the stick, you have to say what's real, what's true, and you can't lie. Well, and I was quoting Festivus, and I misquoted it. The Seinfeld storyline that had George Costanza's dad, played by Jerry Stiller, talking all about Festivus and how it happens on December 23rd.
And here's today's podcast picture.
The podcast picture, yes, is of the late, great Basil the Boxer, when he and I used to go on this walk all the time on 10 Hills Road in Podcastro Valley. It's a nice, wide trail, but very, very dusty. And you walk along these beautiful houses. On one side, on the other side, it's beautiful flora and fauna and forest. And there are some goats that you sometimes see, and Basil used to like to go over and sniff the goats. And so there's a cool picture of him with them, and you can see that at mikesdailypodcast.com, this picture from 8 years ago, and remembering that great dog. One of the cool people that we ran into at the Podcastro Valley Fall Fest, they also lost a boxer, but I lost Basil 4 years ago. They lost theirs like this year. So they had this boxer for 14 years. Oh, that's got to be tough. They're such great dogs, and when you lose them, yikes. But I misquoted Festivus. It's actually the airing of grievances. It takes place immediately after the Festivus dinner. In the television episode, Frank Costanza, that's George Costanza's dad, Jerry Stiller, began it with the phrase, "I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it." It consists of each person lashing out at others and the world around, lashing out at others and the world about how they have been disappointed in the past. Now, some mental health professionals believe that having a space for people to air some of their grievances to their families and friends could actually be good for mental health, although it is something other holidays usually avoid. That, according to Wikipedia, so you know it's true. It's also the Festivus dinners where there are the feats of strength.
Now that's legit.
It's the final tradition observed in the celebration of Festivus, celebrated immediately following the dinner. The head of the household selects one person at the Festivus celebration and challenges them to a wrestling match. Tradition states Festivus is not over until the head of the household has been pinned. Kramer, in one of the episodes, manages to circumvent the role by creating an excuse to leave. The feats of strength are mentioned twice in the episode before they take place. In both instances, no detail was given as to what had happened. But in both instances, George Costanza ran out of the coffee shop in a mad panic, implying he had bad experiences with the feats of strength in the past. What the feats of strength entail was revealed at the very end of the episode when it occurred. And then there are Festivus miracles. Cosmo Kramer, played by Michael Richards, twice declares a Festivus miracle during the Festivus celebration in the Costanza household. Kramer causes the occurrence of 2 miracles by inviting 2 off-track betting bookies to dinner with Elaine.
I can't believe, what the hell is this place anyway?
Café Anyway. And these 2 men are men that Elaine wishes to avoid. And by causing Jerry's girlfriend, Gwen, to believe that Jerry is cheating on her. So that is where it all comes from. It has now permeated popular culture and usually gets celebrated on December 23rd. Wow. So the Festivus thing. But I had it wrong. I thought it was the Festivus pole, which is the aluminum pole, which is supposed to be like a mock Christmas tree. I thought they had to pick that up somehow and then they would tell the truth, but that's not it. It's just let's see, because there's tinsel is distracting. That's right. So there's no tinsel involved. An unadorned aluminum Festivus pole. Okay, there you go. What else here at Café Anyway with all these cool people hanging up their coats maybe. Wait, why are they're not wearing coats now? It's too dang hot outside. Maybe they're on a date, some of the people here. Fed up with dating apps, singles are turning to supermarket-based matchmaking. The TikTok trend here at Café Anyway involves putting a pineapple upside down in one's shopping cart. This move alerts other singles and invites them to bump their cart into your cart. And if they do that, that is like sending you a like. What? Just go and talk to people. What has happened to this society where we don't talk to each other in person? We got to do it all through social media and apps. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. I guess I am talking to you via an app, via a digital recording device called a podcast, Mike's Daily Podcast. And I'm Mike Matthews. But there it is, society. I got all that from Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He is heard on AM 1220 KDOW weekday mornings. And he is on Cron TV Monday through Thursday in the 9 o'clock hour. The fake European heiress Anna Sorokin.
Good morning, Mr. Matthews.
Children, it's so good to see you. Thank you for stopping by and coming to class outside of Café Anyway. I had a very delicious mocha latte iced here at Café Anyway. I'm only mentioning that because you can also get a great mocha latte iced over there at the brand new bakery that opened in Podcastro Valley on Castro Valley Boulevard, where Pampas used to be, the ones that sell empanadas. But now it's been taken over by a coffee house, tiny coffee house, but it's got a nice little patio. It's called Ones. I think it's Ones. I hope I'm saying that right. O-N-E-S. I got into numerology when I was saying ones. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. It's binary. But no, ones, I think, or maybe it's ones. I don't know. I didn't ask the owner, but they did give me a free croissant, so I feel like giving them a free plug on my podcast. There you go. Very nice of them. But back to Anna Sorokin. She is competing in Dancing with the Stars with an ankle monitor. Netflix Inventing Anna showed her as she was convicted of conning banks, hotels, and individuals out of money. So that's that little bit of celebrity if you didn't know. And if you want to watch every NFL game this season, It's going to cost you nearly $2,500 if you're ready for that. 7 streaming services and 6 username and password combinations is what is going to have to be involved for you to do that. Yes. YouTube NFL Sunday Ticket is one of them. Then there's the Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Brings the total to $12.4 billion a year is the amount of money the NFL is making off of this. Comcast, Disney, Paramount, and Fox pay an average of $9.2 billion a year, 85% more than the previous deals. The 2 Christmas Day games on Netflix are a total of, this is what they made for the streaming package, a total of $150 million. The 1 wildcard game on Amazon Prime was for $120 million. 1 international regular season game on Peacock was $80 million. The league gets about $200 million for its Sunday ticket rights for bars and restaurants. Each team gets about $357 million for just media rights. Yet y'all are all hooked on this dang football. Everywhere I look, it's football, football, football. Wow. And guys that... I've known too many guys with multiple TVs going. These are guys with too much money. And sadly, they're in the Bay Area. So they're already paying through the nose. They paid a huge chunk of change for their houses. And then they're paying a huge chunk of change.
Wow, that's wild.
And what's wild is all that money's going into TV sets and sound systems and all of these different services they got to pay for NFL stuff or any other college football stuff. And they're paying and paying and paying. And where does all the money go? Is any of that going into the bank or into any kind of investments that might help them in the future? Because someday they're going to lose their job. It's not like they're going to have that job forever. It's just the way things are. You may think you're secure in that job, but nothing's secure. Take it from someone who knows. So there's just a lot of, I know a lot of stupid men. Really do. 55% of parents go into debt buying tech for kids at school. This is another thing. The pressure to buy new devices for back to school is saddling parents with debt. Meanwhile, the husbands and all that are buying TVs and NFL crap and all the...
It's Bison Bentleys. Do you know that?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley, and Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that? Do you know that?
Do you know that there is way too much expendable income out there? Some people are just really, they got too much. Too much. Do you know that? More than half go into credit card debt, these parents. They use a payment plan or borrow money from friends or family. Hey, borrow it from the people with expendable income. Fargo Apple. Fargo. Not Fargo, but Fargo Apple. 41% of respondents said that due to inflation, they were more interested in lower-cost tech brands and deals. They don't mind not having that Apple foldable phone thingy with the multiple deals that you could listen and watch that you're alive and your vital signs. More than 2 in 3 parents said that tech devices were necessary for their children to access classroom and homework and educational resources. And 77% of household incomes above $100,000 annually, these are the ones with expendable income, buy tech for their kids at least once a year. Among household incomes below $50,000, about only 57% said that they did.
Do you have any safe spaces?
Safe spaces?
Yes, where people can go to get away from the colonialist mentality. As long as there's a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, we'll be fine.
The thing is, if you can't do it with tech, let's just do you're out there in the wilderness scenario. Or let's just say the power is out and you have no generator. If you can't do that, whatever it is you're trying to do or what you do often without that, let's say whatever it is, you really need to rethink what you're doing because you're relying too much on it. I think we over-rely on tech is what I'm saying. Just my observation. And I know it's obvious, but it needs to be said. Okay, so on a recent podcast, I was discussing how, well, I feel like taking a long extended break, packing it in, that kind of thing. And I sent somebody who also does podcasts. I sent them my recent statistics, and I said something, should I give up podcasting, or do you think people are still listening? And they said, you have more free time on the weekends. Maybe you should take a break and see if anyone asks about your upcoming episodes. Then you can ultimately decide.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
This is what I said, was put down the keyboard or whatever she used to write that, because, well, except for that well-used word, larger than life word, 3-syllable word, ultimately. Sorry, 4 syllables. Ultimately, 4 syllables. I'm not sure exactly what she's saying. I have more free time on the weekend. Maybe you should take a break and see if anyone asks about your upcoming episodes. And then you can ultimately decide. I'm not sure what she's saying there. If I take a break and nobody asks about upcoming episodes, then I ultimately decide not to do the podcast to give myself more free time on the weekends. Is that what she's saying? I don't understand. I don't understand. But this is nothing new, because this opens up a note to self about people that write texts or emails cryptically. Do you understand what I am saying? They write something and they send it off without proofreading it, without thinking about how it could be interpreted or misinterpreted, or just the communication. It just goes back to what we were saying earlier about not meeting people in person anymore. We can rely on so much tech to do it, which is that over-reliance on tech stuff that I was talking about. So 99% of the stuff she sends out to me through text and emails, I don't understand. It's cryptic. And she's very young, and I understand, but with the young folk, that something gets lost in translation a lot of times when they're sending texts or emails, and there's no proof. It's too short. They want to. It's the word economy. They don't want to say a lot. They don't want to explain themselves. The more writing, I mean, the use of ultimately, that was impressive. But the rest of the short, quick response type thing, because they're on to something else. If they spend too much time writing something, they get bored. Well, but if you make it too short, too brief, too abridged, it makes no sense. Let me pour you some root beer to try and understand what this is. Root beer, if you break down the ingredients of root beer, do you know yeast is in root beer? And then there's the root beer extract, and then a lot of sugar. So not the healthiest drink. But hey, it's a metaphorical root beer I poured for you. Next time I'll pour something healthy and less fattening. Maybe some iced tea. I need to make some more sun tea with all this heat. The point is, look who's outside a Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth in the land of Ameritopica. Oh my gosh, it's Madame Rootabega, and I like to write very cryptically. Ooh. Have you written a lot of novels? Yes. Do you like the strange animals that are appearing over my head on Facebook? Yes. Do you like lemurs? No. Why not? Lemurs are so cool with the big eyes. Yes, but they have fleas. Well, maybe put a little of the flea stuff on. I don't know. Maybe that's deadly to lemurs. You got to be careful. Like, you can't put the dog flea medication on a cat because it could kill the cat. That's not. Don't laugh about that. I don't know if that's an imitation of a lemur. What is that noise? Maybe it's a giggling panda?
Oh,
not sure.
God, man.
These people had too much root beer to drink at Festivus. Look who else is here.
Hello, Dave Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, what a bots day.
Yeah, bots. Do you know that? Bots. I can't tell you specific. I mean, I've never actually seen a bot in its natural habitat. But I got this email. Hey, are you aware that bots could inflate up to 50% online prices? I guess they meant to write that could inflate online prices up to 50%. That would be a better way to write that sentence. And I didn't even use AI there. I just used my brain. Discover the surprising truth in our latest article from Soaks, S-O-A-X.
Mike Matthews? You not know Mike Matthews.
I am Mike Matthews.
Really?
Eminem.
It's true.
We got Eminem.
Eminem is my initials. Thank you. Look at these animals on my head.
There you go.
No, M&M is not over my head, or M&M candies. Gosh, don't know what type of M&Ms they were eating. SOAX dives deep into how automated systems manipulate market values based on actual data from Backpack.tf. This piece uncovers the mechanisms behind these price hikes and their impact on consumers. Okay. More people have been purchasing stuff online, according to statistics for 2024. 79% of the U.S. population, almost 80%, had engaged in online shopping this year, or over 268 million purchases from digital platforms overall. This information underlines just how intrinsic online shopping has become in daily life. With such significant numbers of shoppers, the stakes for fair and exploitive prices and exploitive pricing tactics are higher than ever. Knowing what drives the dynamics for online pricing is critical for making well-informed purchase decisions.
Burgermaster.
That's right, and Burgermaster would agree. So they're talking about generating artificial scarcity by quickly buying items in bulk. Bots reduce or eliminate stock. This comes at a premium, where genuine shoppers are left to deal with a sense of scarcity. There's price scraping, where bots scrape pricing data from various online stores, allowing sellers to change prices momentarily. This creates a domino effect among the other sellers, who instantly increase their prices far higher. And then there is competitor sabotage. Some bots purposefully trip their competitors' price tracking bots, prompting them to heft the price up in retaliation. Gosh. The role of bots in the market is a double-edged sword. While they bring efficiency, their misuse for price inflation can undermine consumer trust.
Ever since I got elected, Republicans have attacked me by saying that I should go back to bartending. But let me tell you, I'm happy to any day of the week, because there is nothing wrong with working for a living.
That is not a bot. That is a AOC, is what that is, not a BOT. But yeah, she says she is not afraid of working as a bartender. So put your drink in, put your drink requests in, and hey, last call. Their misuse for price inflation can undermine consumer trust and market fairness. And in summary, from SOAX.com, as digitation has crept into shopping, consumers have become very vulnerable to sophisticated price manipulative tactics run by bots. With almost 80% of the U.S. population shopping online in 2024, this scope is more comprehensive than ever. So one must be alert, aware, and sharp to avoid overpaying in their ever automating world of e-commerce. Be ever aware, ever conscious. Be brave, be smart. Don't be narrow-minded. Don't be an ostrich with your head in the sand. That is a myth. Ostriches don't stick their head in the sand because they wouldn't be able to breathe if they did.
Okay! I don't even know what that means, but I love it.
And if they can't breathe, they can't breed, and you know how that is, and it's anarchy after that. So think about that next time you're thinking about things. But if you'd like to tell me about what you're thinking, here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Oh, and look who just popped by, Café Anyway. It is our potentially next vice president, J.D. Vance.
Oh, would you look at that? Another human being with a smaller creature attached to a leash. Hi, I'm J.D. Vance. What's that? Are you asking what kind of breed he is?
For how long?
For how old he is or how long I've had
How
him?
long have you been walking?
I'm sorry, are you asking how our walk?
Okay, good. I love to mingle with the people. Here comes another one now. Hi, I'm JD Vance. How did you install those little wheels under your feet?
You mean my rollerblades?
Okay, good. So how long have you been walking?
Walking where?
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Thank you, Sam Kahn, for that. It was very funny. And now we wrap up the podcast, but you can find out all things Mike's Daily Podcast by going to the mainframe. We hear from A-Frame, and here is all you need to know about Mike's Daily Podcast.com, podcast pictures, past podcasts, etc. Thank you for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!